Usually I'd let like a little montage just go on and highlight the background, but there is a lot going on here, so we're going to need to explain some of this. So Pascal with certain itemization can actually do some loops that allow him to generate AP. So when you give him Finest Hour and then put Claim the Bounty to no attack cost, whenever you shoot something that's stunned, you generate AP. And if you kill something with a Prey and a second Bounty Hunter up, or even just another Bounty Hunter up in general, it will actually reset that ability. So as you can see, we can use Claim the Bounty again. This is something that devs have tried to patch out several times, but it just keeps coming back. Pascal's also a very unique optive that he boosts plasma weapons with every shot he takes. He has access to unique area stuff, so every time he shoots, he increases his damage. This means that you can make some absurdly high damage, and as a bounty hunter, Claim the Bounty always hits as long as you have line of sight. So you can use his unique tech priest stuff to get a lot of that out of plasma cannons, as well as out of exploits, which you see that I'm doing here. Like I just hit that boss 1500 damage and killed it, and then all my future shots are also going to increase on damage. The main issue here is Operative is a support class. It's not a damaging class. There's just unique ways to do damaging with it on Pascal, but unfortunately it still has the issue of he has no mobility. Once you start shooting, you are MP locked. You can't do nothing to actually clear out the battlefield. You could put on skirmisher boots to try and generate some stuff from that, but I don't think it's all really that worthwhile. But as you can see, look, I'm up to 14 AP and I started with 6, so my shots here, because of the gearing, is just generating it. I'll go over this stuff in the build and explain how all this works. But yeah, there's a lot that we're doing here. He can also set traps, stop people being able to push him, but you can quite easily clear the battlefield. Even his operative heroic action, you can use to pick people off, and it is always guaranteed to hit. I don't like the bounty hunter one. It just doesn't seem to work. It's still bugged. Like, I think it needs a little rework. It's meant to shoot at all the prey on the battlefield, but half the time it just doesn't do anything. But as you can see, look, we've got 12 AP still left. We've killed everything on the battlefield. We're doing 1500 hits. So we're actually going to use Hot on the Trail to bank all that AP. So when that enemy gets killed, that we would get that back. It's the last enemy, so we're never actually going to use it. But this will still apply a debuff to the enemy anyway. And then you can just finish off the battle with another character here. So Idra here just had an extra turn going. She's been able to buff loop because of Pascal as well. So they work as a very powerful pair together. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly throw out a Psychic Scream. Was hoping that would kill, it didn't, but everything else on the battlefield is dead anyway. And this is still from Cassia's turn, by the way, so technically no one's actually taking a turn. Like, the first person to actually take a turn here is Barrel Trader, who's got blam. But anyway, let's start looking at the stats in the build here. Okay, so let's look under the hood a little bit to see what's actually going on here with Pascal. So before we actually look at the build side of things, one of the things that we've gone here is the Litany of Exhaustion, which you get in Kimura Act 3, and you need quite a high spot check to be able to see. So any hit with the where a single shot attacks inflict 1 stack fatigue, disturbed, perplexed, and cause an agility test. Before at the moment I've got the Warlord's Amulet. For early game, however, I actually use the Hypnotizing Pendant, so it adds slowed on effects. But what's really important here is the helmet. So the successful single attacks inflict stunned on the target for 1 round. If the target fails a willpower resistant test with -5 penalty. Before that, you actually use the self-calibrating goggles, which does the same thing practically. Yeah, inflicts stunned for 1 round if the target fails a willpower test. So being able to get those effects off is how we can actually stack up and do some things. Other things I have on him at the moment is the Grenadier's backpack, so it just so grenades don't really do as much to allies. Because he's intelligence based, you get his intelligence bonus to these area weapons stuff, so grenades are actually very useful on him, so is Grenadier. Using the Plasma Shaper Gloves because it gets that tech use, along with the U-Tuning Combi Tool because it also gets tech use, and it also increases the armor by 20%. So even though it says 96%, once you actually go into combat, that's over 100%. And with the Ancient Plasma Rifle, which does extra damage for your int as well. And then you've got -2 AP reload cost, as well as an extra 20% armor coming here. So you actually build up a lot of armor on Pascal going towards the end game. But then when we actually go into his features and look at his talents, this is where we're getting some of his unique stuff that's actually doing what mostly he does. Which, funny enough, from his origin talent, you actually get bolter weapon proficiency, so you could use bolters on him as well as melters. But I don't really use melters that much on him because obviously the plasma weapons are better. If you could use both, I probably would use melter and plasma, but you can't. You have to have one of the melees. But some of the useful things that you can get on him, obviously, overcharge protocols. Every time Pasqal uses a plasma or melt weapon, his damage with these weapons increases by 13%, and that stacks. So if you were looking to use melt weapons, Pasqal is your man for that. He's also got his aiming protocols, which he gains 13 ballistic skill and 80% dodge reduction with plasma and melt weapons on ranged attacks. Then you've obviously got filtering protocols. When Pasqal uses a plasma melter weapon in the first round of combat, he gains 1 AP. He's then so where's the one I'm looking for? There's a lot of stuff that you get in there, like machine scan scan protocols is another way to get out some more of that AP there. You've got stuff like fresh attack, so fresh target, which is one of the operative attacks the enemy that's at full wounds, you get 18% more damage. Weak body, weak soul is obviously really good because it lowers enemies' toughness and willpower and use exposed weakness. Sorry, the arm one. Plasma weapon expert, up to plasma damage, which is quite useful with that. Then you've got offensive pattern protocol. The operative takes 30% less damage from enemies affected by exploits. Not as useful as it could be, but still pretty useful. You've also got like persistences of the Forge as well. So successful critical hits from single target attacks increase the critical hit chance and dodge reduction, which is quite good. So this will stack on enemies, which will also give like an extra dodge reduction going on there. So there's a lot of stuff you're seeing here. Like expert finesse can sometimes give you extra attacks, but it's very rare that actually does proc because line of sight issues. But basically, there's another one for plasma weapons that, there's where you can get obviously AP off killing things with prey. Pinnacle of weaponry, the first attack obviously increases plasma weapons as well. It can also apply to melter, so you could actually, like I said, you could do melter weapons here as well. There's stuff to like really get his perception up as well. So perception is mostly what determines turn order, along with agility. Someone's been saying that they think it's only perception at the moment, or it could only be agility. I've not really looked into that too much myself. But because of all these like unique ways that you boost plasma and melter weapons, it makes Pasqal very useful. Is his subskin armor working? What's he using this? Was he using analytics systems? I wonder which one of these he picked, actually. Forged for a purpose. Well, I'm not seeing subskin armor here. So it must be the attack ones. I'm not seeing it on anything else. Unless that ability is just not applying. But anyway, you can do some other little things to it. But it's mostly that you can just basically keep generating AP off him. So if you're using those loops like I showed you at the beginning here, you can get like extra AP, and when you shoot stuns targets as well, I think it's Hunter's Ambush. When a bounty hunter performs a single shot on attack on an immobilized or stunned target, the attack refunds its cost and does not count towards the attack limit, which is once around. That once around, it seems to reset when you get additional turns. So Hunter's Ambush is kind of how you're doing a lot of those resets. So if we actually look at the overall build here, so there are some options that you can go here. So you can either go tactical knowledge or precise attack early on. Precise attack, because of his low starting perception, is what you actually need to land those shots. But tactical knowledge will increase his damage and give allied armor. You can then, for the second one, take precise attack with joint analysis. Joint analysis will cause the extra turn looping of bounty hunters to be able to actually allow your allies to do more damage, and it makes the exploits more useful. But precise attack is kind of what you need to be able to hit yourself. You also have a choice of Tide of Excellence, which is every time you shoot someone with exploits on it, you get +1 damage. Or you can take Weak Body, Weak Soul, which reduces their toughness and willpower. So because of the looping turns of Bounty Hunter, this could help you really, really lower enemy stats. These are some of the changes that I've made going back through. I've also moved machine scan protocols, aiming protocols, overcharge protocols to a little bit earlier. obviously when we go into over here into Bounty Hunter, so I take Hunter's Ambush a little bit later, but you could actually take it a little bit sooner. So you could actually, because Expert Finesse just doesn't seem to always work, you could swap it out here and then take Expert Finesse later. So that's going to be really a choice for yourself. But what is important is you get hot on the trail and trail and shatters. This will allow you to take extra turns. Savor the kill is obviously really important. Withdraw was previously bugged, but if you don't want to use savor the kill because you've already got 2 bounty hunters, because you don't really want more than 2, because you can't choose who gets their turns, you could take withdraw instead. That was bugged and gave you infinite dodge. They fixed that very recently. But yeah, you start enhancing the plasma melter stuff. And then later games, again, it's just more about getting some of that support stuff in there. So you can use Deadly Aim or Death Dealer. Death Dealer currently bug doesn't quite proc as well as it should, so you can take Deadly Aim. Vital Points, no, also very useful. So yeah, there's a lot of options here, but you gotta remember, Pasqal is a support class, so it's all about applying exploits, using tactical knowledge, using exposed weakness, getting weak body, weak soul, and to lower enemy stats so the rest of your party can kill them, and creating those buff loops with bounty hunters so you can take extra turns, which can reset some of your allies' abilities, which gives them more offensive power, and it can also reset stuff like the paired hit pistol holster. It can reset the ability of Arc Militant to get extra attacks. It can reset uses on like extra attack abilities like Wildfire, Claim the Bounty, and all that sort of stuff. So it's Bounty Hunter is a very, very good support class, and Operative being a support class, not a damaging class. Like a lot of people think sniper rifles are for damage. They're a support weapon. They have high base stats because there's not much that can actually boost and benefit them, which is why Act 1 I tend to use snipers on Pasqal whilst they're useful, and then Act 2, by the time sniper rifles stop being useful, I switch over to plasma, and then you can abuse a lot of the plasma rifle stuff. Possibly you could use melters. They have added a lot more melters, so now melters are more viable, but I personally use plasmas. On my next one I might try using melters more, but have to see. But it's up to you how you want to do it. But this sort of build here, yeah, it will carry you through the game. It will make him a very good thing. Like, a lot of people try to say that you just use Jay instead, but Jay's not useful to cover his checks until late Act 4. Just having him in the party guarantees you get those tech uses and those logic checks passed. So yeah, he's very useful. Grenadier as well will also enhance his attack economy. So you'll have 3 attack actions in that first round. There's a chance to get the expert finesse, but some people have reported that they've had bugged instances where it just goes ham and starts shooting everything in combat. I've not had that, but one thing that is very useful, Ensnare the Prey, stops enemies being able to push onto you. It's very useful to have, especially in Act 3 where you don't have all your gear and all your party members. Very useful. But yes, that will cover most things with Pasqal. Yeah, I'll just put a little bit another montage at the end there, and hopefully this will help you build this guy.